Hey all, so as 'tis the season, we're going to look at how some of the best known Christmas songs use a bit of chord magic to create that festive sparkle, and some of the clever little techniques hidden in there with the Christmas songs that you hear all the time on the radio that you never really think too much about, other than, yeah, they've kind of got something different about them that maybe you don't hear in your average pop song. So we're going to look at 5, if you like, a top 5 of songs that I think do this. A lot of them are, I would say, from the 70s and maybe the 80s, rather than songs that have come out in the last 10, 20 years. So we're going to have a look at, first of all, Wizards' I Wish It Could Be Christmas Every Day. Now this one is interesting because it starts off clearly to be in D major. Sort of that descending bass line that you hear in so many Christmas songs. Okay, so all the chords there are really fitting with the main key of D major, okay? Yeah, that first bit, if you like, perfect cadence, A to D. Okay, D major. A little bit more interesting because you've got G major, but then you've got a C natural, so given that we're in D, you'd have thought it'd be C sharp. But it still feels very much like we're going back to ending up in D major. The chorus is where it's interesting. I think this is the bit that brings a little bit of sort of Christmas sparkle to the piece. We've gone from the chord of C back to D, and then so up to E major, and then we sort of change key. So the chorus has a real lift to it because we've gone up a tone from D major to E major, and it creates that sort of lift and that bit of magic, I think, in the chorus. But they're still using that same technique of where you'd expect there to be a D sharp, note 7 of the scale, it's now a D natural. But then the next phrase after that, it goes back to being D sharp. So it sort of plays with the flattened 7th as well, in both when it's in D major and when it's in E major. So it's quite clever through all of that. In the instrumental break section, you've got quite a nice little change as well. So you're going out of the chorus. And then suddenly B minor. Okay, so then we've got sort of B minor, E, A, so 2-5-1 in A major. It's a related key to both D and E, which you've been in previously. Then there's that little bit I played. So throwing in a D minor to A as well. So some lovely little chord tricks in there, sort of beyond the most straightforward things you could do, but it creates a lovely magical feel to the song. Okay, next up we're going to look at another one from a similar era, which will be Slade. Merry Xmas, everybody. This one, basically, if the last piece kind of had 2 main keys to it, so does this one, except it more frequently revolves around the 2, and the chorus is kind of like a split between the 2 things. So it starts off. Alright, so right away you've got sort of feels like B flat, but then a D major chord which pulls us to G for the verse. So clearly in the verse we're in G major. All the chords there, G, E minor, B minor, D, fit to that key. It's when we get back to the chorus of the song. get the B flats thrown in again. Because we've got E naturals in the song, I would say that it feels more like F, with just the B flat in the key signature. So I think we're mixing between G and B flat rather than maybe G and a key of B flat, if that makes sense. B minor, B flat, same again. Going out of it back to a D chord. So yeah, it's mixing between the two. Bass line's also really interesting in the song. It's also got this descending bass line thing, a bit like the Wizard song. And then this middle 8 section where it goes to a D minor and B flat, and comes out of it with a C, sus4, a D, lots of sus4 to 3 things going on there. So yeah, D minor, B flat, back up to C. That tells me it feels like F, and it just kind of jumps away from it again by going to the D chord to return us to the third verse. That cool little guitar riff. Okay. So then I'm going to throw in there a bit of Last Christmas by Wham. This one has a largely repeating chord pattern throughout the whole piece. And what I really like with this one is the way it could be a really, really simple chord sequence, but immediately it's got extended chords. The way it's written is all to do with sort of taking a chord shape and playing around with it, and the way the bass line relates to it is what gives us that interesting harmony. Because if you boiled it down to what the bass line's telling us, which is very much D major, so you kind of got this D, B minor, E minor, A. And it could be as simple as that. If you listen to that on its own, and you don't even think of the melody of the song, it's pretty dull. Okay. Immediately, by adding the extended chords onto it, you get this completely different and much more sophisticated feel. Okay, so by adding basically an A chord above a D bass note, you get like a D major 9, although there's no F sharp in it. Then you get kind of a D6. Then when the bass note changes to B, you get a B minor 11 to a B minor 7. Then you get this E minor 11 to just pretty much an E minor. And then you get what you could call an A13 chord, or to be honest, I would just say B minor over A, and then resolving to an A. So yeah, really way more jazzy, sophisticated chords. By the way, you just put those two elements together. If you were to strip it back to one or the other, it wouldn't sound anywhere near as interesting. It doesn't really work to play an A in the bass either. When you put the two together, it's great. Just D on its own, not so much. If you sang the melody and played the chords, you'd get some of those same added notes on top, so it would sort of still work. Last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. but with last Christmas I gave you my heart, but the very next day you gave it away. This year, to save me from tears, I'll give it to someone special. No, way better, way better. Okay, let's move on to look at, what else? I think, Paul McCartney's Wonderful Christmas Time would also be in my top 5. So with that one, you've got an opening with some nice extended chords. Something like that. So B major 7, sort of just B major, then B major 9, and then just B major. So that first bit alone creates a bit of magic. Then you got this. So what's happening there is, and that's the chords that run through the verse as well. I suppose it's the refrain actually. Simply having a wonderful Christmas time. So you've got E, chord 4, F sharp, maybe add 2, chord 5, E flat minus or D sharp minor 7, which is kind of chord 3. G sharp minor, added 9, which is like chord 6. Then the really interesting one, E minor 7, A9 to B. So in jazz terms, you could think of the E minor to A as if it was a 2-5 progression moving us to a D. Because you can hear when you add the D in, it sort of feels resolved, but it's not at all that. It's just an interesting little escape from the main key that pulls us back around from A just up a step to B. It sounds like overanalyzing it at times, I know. The fact is, it's just interesting, sparkly chords that I think would give it a really festive feel. So if I just pop those bits together. And there you have it. And I can't help but pretend I've got a repeater sound on my piano and keep playing the chords. It's not really how it's played to begin with, but that's how I've always done it. Okay, last one then for this video. We've had Wizard, Wish Could Be Christmas Every Day. We've had Slade and Merry Xmas Everybody. We have had Wham! Last Christmas. We've had Paul McCartney's Wonderful Christmas Time. So if I was to throw in one other Christmas song with really magical chord changes, I'd probably have to go with... Genuinely couldn't remember which one I'd picked then as my 5th. Had to go and check. And it's weird because it's also the one I'd say is probably my favourite Christmas song of all time for a number of reasons. Would be Step Into Christmas by Elton. Now this one's... It's largely conventional in terms of the chords, but there's one particular thing in it that I love that I think is great. Maybe calling it magical is a stretch, but all the chords in the song are really well considered and clever, and that's enough, I think, to qualify it. So the song itself is in D. It's got some great riffs. Kind of bluesy little riffs going on there. Now it does a vaguely similar thing to the Wizard song in that you're starting off on a D, and then you get a C natural rather than a C sharp, and it kind of pulls you towards the G chord 4, then chord 2, back to chord 1. So. Riff. I love the change in the sort of pre-chorus bit. That's the bit I wanted to highlight. So chord 5 would be A, which we're going to get to, but before that, a little diversion it takes to A minor or A minor 7. But I'd like to think about all the things. Yeah, really cool little change. Little pause on E minor. Step into Christmas with me, yeah. Bluesy F natural again there. Just fits really well. The chorus goes to just D. Couldn't be more straightforwardly in D, really. D, G, A, 1, 4, 5. Nice little bit on there. Step into Christmas, the admission's free, which is just throwing in a E to A, which you could call a secondary dominant chord because it's chord 5 of A, the dominant chord in the key we're starting in, which is D. Or you could say it's a major chord 2. And it's a perfect Christmas song for so many reasons. So that's my rundown. That's my favourite, but there's others in there that have perhaps more clever use of chords. What do you think? Are there any that I've really obviously missed out? Which songs do you regard as having the most sort of magical chord changes or little harmony tricks? Let me know. Comment below. And if you like the video, please share. Please subscribe to my channel and hit the notification button so you get all the updates of my new videos. Well, have a very Merry Christmas, and I look forward to seeing you again for more musicology in the new year.